Hello, welcome to Juniper Level Botanic Garden, the home of Plant Delight's Nursery. It's late June, and a really big project we do every year at this time is collect and sow the seed of trilliums. All of the trilliums we grow are North American natives. The largest number are the sessile ones with the flower right on top of the ruff of leaves. And they are quite fertile. This is not something you have to do in your garden. You can just let the seeds drop on the ground and they'll germinate. And you know, clearly nobody's out in the wild sowing the seeds of the trilliums, but we collect them and sow them in pots. Now, this is an example of a sessile trillium. The flower was right here atop of the leaves, and they make just one fruit, and I'm using fruit in the botanical sense to mean that part of the plant that bears the seeds. Botanically, fruit doesn't indicate whether something is edible or poisonous. So 3 big fruits, one per stem, and this is Trillium ludoviciana. Trillium, of course, referring to the parts in 3, well, I guess Lilium, the part referring to lilies. Ludoviciana is a Latinized version of Louisiana, not the state, but the territory. Trillium seeds are really interesting. We just sort of squished the seeds out of it, sort of like it was a tube of toothpaste, and I hope you can see that each one of these seeds has a little white fringe on the seed, and that's called an elaiosom. Elio is from the ancient Greek for oil. Sown means body, so it's the fat body on the outside of the seed. The seed itself attains no nourishment from the elaiosom, but that is an enticement to an ant or a yellow jacket or other wasp to carry the seed away. The plant does not have a means of seed dispersal if some other creature isn't going to disperse it, other than gravity. So if ants or yellow jackets don't carry the seeds away, all the seedlings will come up around mom. I've been harvesting these seeds for the last couple days, and every now and then a yellow jacket will show up and seem terribly interested in the seeds. An ant can carry the seed away quite far, but a flying creature like a yellow jacket will carry it an even greater distance. You could just, rough up the mulch and a little bit of the soil surface in the garden and sprinkle the seeds and cover it up with mulch. I'm not going to do that because my assigned job is to collect these seeds and sow them in pots. So I'll show you what I've been working on. This is my early afternoon's progress. This is the same bark-based potting media that we grow most of the plants here. I would not normally squeeze the seeds into my palm, but rather directly into the pot. And they're fairly sticky, so before I go on to a next step in the process, I'll make sure there's no seed still hanging out on my hand. That looks like probably a good number of seeds per pot. These plump seeds probably will have a high rate of germination. After we finish sowing them, we put them in underneath the benches in one of our greenhouses that is pretty cool in the winter. It's kept above freezing, but it's still fairly cool. and they start to germinate in late winter and early spring, at which time we move them up to the tops of the benches. So, and it's okay to drop the actual outer part of the fruit into the pot. I like to top it up with a little bit of potting soil. Be aware that trilliums are a seed that want to be covered, and some seeds of other plants need to be surface sown because they want to be exposed to light when they're germinating, but trilliums are not one of them. We covered up with a little bit of grit. This is actually Stay-Lite Permatil, which is an expanded slate. It's a lot lighter than gravel, and that's primarily to prevent the seeds from being washed out when the pots are being watered. Being under the bench, they mostly get water from when the pots are irrigated up on the bench above them. So that's really all there is to sowing. Next year, when they germinate, they will have one little slender leaf from each seed. They'll keep that seed for, like 4 to 6 months and then go dormant. The trilliums in the garden are starting to go dormant now that the fruit is ripe. And then when they return the following year, they'll have a slightly bigger leaf, and it might be in the third year where they have the typical trifoliate leaf. When they get big enough, we'll plant them in our nursery beds outside and grow them up to a saleable size. So again, we do this so we have more control and better germination in a nursery setting, but if you don't want to go to the fuss, either just let Mother Nature handle the whole process, or scratch them into the mulch wherever you want them in the garden. Thank you very much for your time today, and I hope to see you again in the garden.